Hello, everybody, and welcome to Coffee Break with Candace and David. I'm your co-host, David Marino. And if you thought Halloween was the only time of year where things could get scary, you're wrong. They can also get scary at Christmas. I'm here with House of Torment General Manager Michael Faust. And around Christmas, you all actually do Krampus. It's House of Torment presents Krampus, right?
Yeah. Krampus, a haunted Christmas. Yeah.
So basically, it's a haunted house, but Christmas themed. So can you talk a little about what you guys try to do differently from the Halloween haunted house that everybody's used to coming to?
Yeah. So for Krampus, it's not all three houses. First of all, it's only probably about 1.5, and it's our manor side, so it's the third attraction. It was Boogeyman for everybody who came this past season, and you walk through the manor, and about towards the very end, it's almost the full entire attraction. Then you cut over and you exit out of the second attraction. A lot of people don't realize that if you pay attention, you can see that it's the cutover and like how we merge it together. But we try to make it not gory, scary, but more like fun and eventful. Like try to create memories in those Christmas moments. Like in the kitchen, we throw a bunch of gingerbread men in there. We always have the drunk uncle or the drunk Santa Claus in there. So we try to make moments that you'll go through and go, I remember that. It's more nostalgia type of fear as we want to give to the customers. And it's, I don't want to say Nightmare Before Christmas, but like how that juxtaposition went really well. That's how Krampus always plays out. And we have a few Krampuses like throughout the haunt and try to have a bunch outside too.
So this is the third chapter of Krampus, correct? Because you all have done it the last 2 years, and then this would be the final chapter. So this kind of wraps up the series that you've been doing with this every year?
Yeah. The first one was just Krampus, and it was just like, him emerging, him coming out. And then chapter 2 was... it was Jack Frost. And so we had Jack Frost. He came out, Krampus unleashed him to try to, take over Christmas. And then actually chapter 3 was the spirits. I forget the actual name, and I came up with the name. But it was Belle, the Christmas ghost. And it was like, we like to play on folklore, but also kind of create our own mythos. And so with that, we had the bell. Like, why do jingle bells exist? Why are they in hallways? Well, it was back in the day, it was to deter spirits, which isn't true at all. We just invented it. So it kind of was like, oh, that's cool. And then now it's the final chapter.
So when people think of haunted houses and they think of something scary, it usually is around the Halloween time of year, right? So what was the idea for you guys to do something that was not exactly the same, but something that had an element of scare around the Christmas holiday season?
Well, we always, anytime there's an opportunity to just entertain the public, we want to try to do that. And with this type of event, it was normally blackout. That's where we always cut the lights off, give the customer a glow stick, but we change it up, give them a red glow stick and do Christmas theme. And we're like, but we're more than that. We're much more than that. We're an entertainment company. So we wanted to polish it up a bit, and we started to do Krampus, and it, took off from there. And it seemed like for a while, Krampus was almost an unknown character. And then boom, just out of he's everywhere now, you got like grocery stores, H-E-B and them selling Krampus merch. It's like, wow, why are you selling this? But he's everywhere. And so when that starts to happen, it's almost to where it gets watered down too much. So for us as entertainers and artists, we're like, well, then now that story is being told by everybody. So let's try to create a new story. And that again goes back to just being artists and entertainers. We wanted to give that to the public. And so we, let's give them a story. Let's give them an adventure they can walk through.
And I know we spoke last time for House of Torment for Halloween, but you all get ready for these things way ahead of time. So right now, you'll probably start after this is over and you move on to your next event. You'll be thinking about kind of what's coming up for the rest of the year and what you want to do for Christmas, or the ideas will start coming, right? Or you'll start thinking about that stuff.
Like now, since we're closing the chapter on this, we're already thinking of next Christmas just because we have to. But and for Valentine's, we're already trying to think of our Valentine's event. We know what that's going to entail. I wouldn't give too much away, but if you look at what we've done, with previous years and everything, just like Krampus, we're always about, it's the bookends. We started it, and we always finish what we start story-wise.
So I know that you all find a lot of different props and different things that obviously make the haunted house have that atmosphere. While it will be different from House of Torment, will there be like kind of some of that similar, some of the similar kind of what we're used to seeing with House of Torment, just some other scary things like that with props and things?
Yeah, we pull a lot of the props from the other two houses and we put them in there. So it's almost like a house and a half just crammed entirely of House of Torment. We have all of our actors in there as well. You know, we have our entertainers outside. And so we have a whole catalog of costumes to pull for. And we always like to do it to where if we have our iconic characters or our icons outside, well, they dress up too. So the character dresses up for Christmas, you know. So the big robot Nemesis who's walking around, well, we made him kind of like a present, put a big bow on him, put Christmas lights. So we dress them up as well. So you'll see the characters in there still. You'll see the environment. You'll see, you know, some of the classic props we have in there. But it's always just more like you change the skin, you know, on a level. So that's what we're doing here, changing the skin, adding more, you know, like more Christmas type element throughout there, but it's still scary where it needs to be, but then entertaining, because we also want, we want families to come up here and remember stuff, and we have our photo ops and everything outside, going to make those more family friendly, but it's still House of Torment very much.
What would you say in terms of the characters? What can people expect to see? Obviously Krampus, but when you talk about the other characters that are part of this story, what can we expect to see with that?
Krampus. You'll see. We call them mall Santas. So you'll see a bunch of them. Like some of them have they're all Santa outfits with their fake beards and the sleeves cut off. Stuff like that. You'll see Elf on the Shelf sitting around in there. You'll see some like bad rogue elves. Drunk Uncle, Toy Soldiers, some of the ice elves we created for Jack Frost. You'll see him in there. And then sometimes we try to throw in there, what is it? What is the Scrooge? And then all of the future, past, present ghosts throughout. So we try to hit with classics, and then sometimes just a present monster or a big Christmas tree that you never know if it's an actor or not. So we try to have little fun spots like that too.
And makeup is really important for you all and everything that you do. And that's just a very creative process. I mean, it's very elaborate, right? When you talk about, and we're going to show some of that later, but when you talk about not just the costumes, but the actual makeup that are on your actors, I mean, this is like high-end professional. I mean, it looks like a movie set, just even looking at stuff from House of Torment. It's really phenomenal what you guys do.
Yeah, thanks. And it's a little bit of effort, because with artists, it goes to, we don't put blood on them because it's for like blood's such a special tool to put on things. So we kind of hold that for Halloween in the fall. So we take it away for Christmas, but we'll, what can we do? We can add, a little snow on their nose, or, frost here and there for the elves. Then that's where we had to create characters like Elf on the Shelf, like bring them to life, just to get away from that. It's more of a, like I said, more of a holiday type of fear, and not just embedded in Halloween, sharp teeth, big, ugly, whatever. These are more like spooky, and some of them are cute, but you don't, once they smile, you don't want to go anywhere near them.
In terms of this specific Christmas sort of haunt, how many years have you been doing that? I know House of Torment's been going on for a long time, but as far as Christmas, how long have you been doing that?
If the super fans remember, in 2005, we did a Christmas event called Creepsville Christmas, and it was a walkthrough of about 10 scenes, and it was an audio track that we created to where it was literally, it's funny because few people remember it, but it was literally 4 actors, but I played 2 or 3 characters, and there was like 10 characters throughout it. So it was a lot of push the CD player, for anybody who remembers CD players, running through, doing all this. So it was that type of event, very small, very intimate. It was awesome for the people that came, but it was just way too ahead of its time. And so then I think it wasn't until about, I want to say like 2009 or 10, we did a Christmas event, but again, it was blackout. We cut all the lights off. You just have everybody in Christmas outfits, and then you give them red and blue or green glow sticks. And then it really wasn't until like, I want to say 2016 or 15 that we finally did Krampus and themed it. So for a good while, we've always done something for Christmas. Just, probably like the last few years since it's actually been an event though.
Have you seen the following kind of building with your Christmas event? Because obviously everybody knows about Halloween, but for the Christmas event, have you found that more people are coming to that every year, or has it kind of gained that following that you're used to seeing with other events that you do?
Yeah, because during the season we'll be outside, and towards the end of the season, I'll have somebody like, hey, go be Krampus tonight, or go be Santa, and then they'll ask us like, oh, you're gonna do Christmas again, or I went to I missed it last year because again we didn't have Christmas last year, but and San Antonio doesn't open for their off-season events, and so we have a lot of their actors come down here and a lot of their customers, and so yeah, we get them, like we'll put signage out early on too, or like maybe hand out a little flyers early. And then we'll go down to First Thursday to Congress. We just did that recently. And everybody down there at first was really like, why are there these things out here? You know, because we're in their territory and we shouldn't be. We're totally not welcome at that time. But then they see our signage, they see us as a whole, and it's like, oh, that's House of Torment. And they're always so welcoming, taking photos. And we're not there to scare them. We're there to entertain and promote and have fun. And so we did that, and everybody's like, oh, I'm glad y'all are back. I'm glad y'all are doing this. So that was been the whole reaction this year is I'm glad you guys are back.
And you're part of 13th Floor Entertainment. So House of Torment falls under that entertainment group or company that you work for. And as you were saying, House of Torment, that's here in Austin, but 13th Floor Entertainment has haunted houses throughout different markets in the country, right?
Yeah.
And also, you know, for people who don't know, you know, outside of Halloween and Christmas, you all do a lot of other things, right? Can you expand on that again?
Yeah, like we do a Valentine's event, and then we have a touring event called Zombie Apocalypse, but now it's called Monsters versus Mortals, and it's a laser tag event. So it literally has all the guns, and it's a big box truck that drives around and sets up in each market. There's that. I think we have like a few pumpkin festivals around that we do, but that's happening during the season simultaneously. We do axe throwing. We do. I think it's a golf type of bowl, or not golf, a football type of bowling. It's called fouling.
Okay.
And it's a new thing that's picking up. We have that in Denver. What else do we do? It's a lot of events like that. And we're starting to try to do new, different events. You know, like we have the haunted house here. So what can we do? Can we do an art gallery? You know, can we do other little shows? Can we do movies out in the parking lot? So we're always trying to expand and see, you know, what's out there, what customers want to see and be a part of.
For you, what's your, I don't know, maybe favorite part of being involved in this industry? And as a general manager here, I know you've been involved from the get-go, from the very beginning. So that's been many years. For you, what is it about this industry, this job that keeps you coming back and keeps you inspired?
For me, it's you always used to be acting. Like you used to be getting, you know, putting it on because you get to be somebody else. You get to do, you know, and entertain. But that eventually fades away. And for me, I found more so this year, it's been just connecting with people, whether it's my team, whether it's the customers, and just giving them something, you know, giving them a laugh, a scare, you know, hope, or whatever it is, you know, with you know, like them seeing us bounce back. They're like, that's awesome that you guys, you know, that y'all came back. We thought y'all were gone for good after the pandemic and everything. So for me, it's the customers that are always coming back. It's my team who's always here, and they work like I've never seen, especially this group of kids I got now. And it's not just from the actors. It's from the actors. It's from the event staff, some security, the people in the control room, you know, just all of them. A lot of the kids on the side of the axe throwing, class acts, they also double over as actors. So they're putting in time doing axe shows during the day, and they want to come over and haunt at night and suit up, put on makeup. And so it's like I always tell everybody, we're a family here. Once the clock hits, we're a team, you know, and as a team, we're efficient, you know, we're decisive, you know, we execute what we're going to do. But for me, it's that reaction, and it's knowing that we're able to entertain and put on a show for customers.
So Steve, you're the makeup manager here at House of Torment. It's a very creative process, obviously. So when you're doing makeup, kind of what goes through your mind? What are you thinking of? What's the process behind it?
Keeping it spooky, trying to get for efficiency. The way we think about our characters that are outside, which we call our icons, is going to be a very different process than what we do in the haunt. When we're inside the haunt, we're considering things like, obviously, costume, but lighting in the room that they're in is going to have a dramatic effect on whatever makeups we put in said room. So that's something that goes heavily into consideration with the planning of characters and costumes, and even the colors that we use.
So you yourself, when did you get into doing makeup?
I started getting into makeup in my early days at House of Torment when I started 2006, but that was kind of a different world. We were just, if you wanted to do makeup instead of wear a mask, then you had to do your own makeup. So that was really my first foray into doing spooky makeup. Later, when I came back in 2014 as the makeup manager, that was many years of learning and progress later, and we were, I'd say about a 95% airbrush makeup. Like most of what we'd done at that point was airbrush. We did some additional things with brushes, and that was, again, happened to our icons outside, which they're in the light, they're talking, they're taking pictures with customers, so they have to have a little bit more of a developed look than our normal monsters in our scenes.
So obviously for this show, Krampus, it's more Christmas related. So what is Darren doing to me here right now?
So what he's giving you right now is a big ghoulish smile and friendly Christmas red. Sorry for the stutter and my phone going off, jeez. But a lot of the techniques as far as the shapes and stuff and how we will work around the face would be very similar. We're just kind of using different colors. Like, personally, I still like to do very zombie-based looks or creepy clown-based looks, just using things like a white base with greens and reds and blues. We have a couple of Jack Frosts running out today, which are basically zombies just done with white and blue instead of green and brown.
What's the most elaborate I know you've done so many things over the years, but what do you say is one of the most elaborate makeup jobs that you've done, maybe associated with House of Torment?
Personally, I'd say in 2015 we had the Hex of the Harvest, and these were full airbrush looks, but we also had an excess of yellow paint at the time, so we were trying to come up with creative ways to use said yellow paint instead of a white base. So yellow is very non-traditional for a base. So we were doing like pumpkin looks and pumpkin ghosts and trying to layer oranges, yellows, greens, and browns to create very organic but still scary looks. You know, some people we were making them look like carved jack-o'-lanterns. Some people were scarecrow, but it all had that just a brighter tone to it because we were trying to be creative with our color usage. So those were very elaborate, but as far as there's been some meticulous looks for our clowns over the years, and less our clowns that are inside the haunt and more so the clowns that are, again, icons. At the time she was an icon, but now she's our performance manager, and she very elaborate layered clown looks. So they very sharp lines and a lot of very interesting effects and makeups done. And that's Jackie.
So obviously being an actor in these haunted houses is really important, but the makeup really is what brings it to life, right? Would you say, with even the costuming and everything?
I think it all plays I've been everything, so that kind of sways my opinion, as a makeup artist, but it does, there's a lot of work that the actor has to put in, but the makeup can help an actor come alive. The makeup can help inspire and inform a character to kind of give direction. So it's pretty balanced on the scale as far as I'd say. And, visuals and production are everything, so.
So what about, doing this kind of makeup attracted you? What got you interested in doing this?
Growing up, I was a LARPer nerd, and that got me into costuming and leather work, and I've done some leather work for Torment in the past, armor making and stuff like that. So it was really, I'd say my start was costuming as far as what skill I'd say I came in with, but I've been a Halloween-obsessed kid every year of my life, so 37 now, so less of an excuse and a little bit of a different, it's just a passion of life. I've always been drawn towards it. Brings me a lot of pride. It almost like, I get sad that I can't do more. Like there's, everybody has skills and talents that everyone adapts to and does what they're best at. And it's always been a struggle for me to try to keep up with how much knowledge and talent is brought in. Like I would love to know animatronics and puppeteering, but there's guys that know that a lot more than me. But I always like to have my hand in the spooky artist life.
People walk through like haunted houses, even Krampus, and I know y'all do Valentine's Day as well.
Oh yeah.
And obviously it's entertainment, and they get to have fun and get scared and all of that. But there's a lot of work that goes into creating this.
A crazy amount of work.
What would you say? I mean, how do you speak to that? Because I know that, you know, when it comes from even the props to the makeup to the masks, it really is like a labor of love, I would imagine, for all of you.
So let me kind of spin that around and say, like, yeah, I've been a manager in this industry for a while, so I've had employees that have come and worked for me, and then they ask for letters of recommendations or references to other jobs. It's always been very, very frustrating to me how little other employers respect the amount of work that it takes to make something good. When it comes to set design, costume design, makeup, in any fabric of the industry, the amount of work that it takes to make a good, desirable project, it's a lot. And if you don't love it, it's not really, the passion has to be there to be a motivating factor. So, and I mean, like, even when it comes to acting, this is the only job of acting where you're going to be in a suit that it's not easy to wear. Like, it's a struggle. You have to have some athleticism and some stamina to do it. Like, every part of this job requires an aspect that not necessarily other employers will recognize unless they've had to be in a very specific circumstance themselves.
And I always say, especially in the arts or anything creative, that it's one of those rare fields where your work is on display for everybody to critique and give feedback to. And not every job is like that, or not everything is like that. So you almost also have to have this like double thick skin because...
At times.
Because, you know, like, it's your work, it's your baby, it's what you put out there.
And it's also a competitive industry. Like, there's a lot of people who love this and want to be the best at it.
How many actors do you do makeup on?
32 for Krampus.
Wow.
That actually doesn't stress me out at all. We used to have... I used to have to put time limits on my artists because of what we were doing, and
Yeah.
32 will pump out some awesome looks with a team of 4. I have no sweat about that. That's easy. Especially with the team I got. It's nice to be able to, and I've told Darren before, like, my job is to facilitate their time as artists. Like, if something goes wrong, I'm going to handle the thing that goes wrong instead of letting them sit there and stress about it. Like, if an airbrush has a problem, I'll fix the airbrush. If they need people to just white out faces so they can come in and add detail, I'm happy to do that. Like, I'm here to facilitate everything for my artists, because as you can tell, this dude's got enough talent. He doesn't need me looming over his shoulder. I just let him roll. When we roll with our makeup, we got to use EBA. EBA is an airbrush makeup. It's alcohol-based. It stays on. It resists the sweat. Because it gets a little warm in there. A little bit cooler for Krampus, but it's still going to be warm in those costumes, and we need something that can fight away the sweat.
So from this point on, what is your crew going to be doing to get prepared?
Decorating. And it's literally, it's like how you would a house any other time, but it's here and it's making it scary. And the thing about it is they don't really make scary Christmas stuff.
Right.
And so we have to make that. So you can only make lights so scary, but you got to find ways of, like, how do we, and it's literally Nightmare Before Christmas. On there, when they're making Christmas, we're literally making Krampus, just coming around, putting everything up and seeing, what can I make out of that? Can I make that scary? Can I turn this, you put teeth on it, you throw some, latex here and there and try to make it spooky.
And like you said, there's the makeup, and then you have like masks as well, right? Mm-hmm. Can you talk more about that?
Yeah, masks will have, like, we have like around 6 or 7 Krampus full costumes this year in masks. We have a lot of stuff that, like, you don't always have to make, stuff from nothing. If it already exists, and that's the easy part, it's not cheating. It's just, you take it and add to it and expand on it. So, like, I saw a lot of masks at this past season during Halloween, as in, like, I could turn that into, like, a toy soldier. I can turn that into a nutcracker or a gingerbread man, or whatever, where was one? Sugar Plum Princess, what we did before Fairy. And so you look at the mask that way and see, well, I can alter it, like that. And we'll always do makeup under. I'm always big on having the mask and they can take it off and they're even scarier under it. So that's more the soft side. So if kids do come through, just look at the mask, and that's kind of spooky, but they're scary underneath. But yeah, we have a lot of masks for this too.
What would you say to people who've never been to Krampus and they're thinking about coming out? What would you tell them to expect?
It's fun. It's not like we have people who've been the other way. They come to Krampus and they're like, I just don't go to y'all's Halloween because I know y'all are House of Torment. Like, and I don't, and we just give us a year, come back next year, come for Valentine's, then come for Halloween, and they do. And so for Krampus, like, it's not really that hard of a sell because it's just Christmas. But I would say just, come out and have fun. Expect to have fun. Expect to get, photos. Because our manor facade outside, we decorate that with a light show. Come out, check out the light show. Just look at that. Even if you don't want to go through, come out, hang out in our scare store, drink some cocoa, hang out. We're going to have our secret bar open again this year inside. So that's pretty cool because it's in a new location. That's cool. We got some really cool merch. We got our new Krampus ornaments. And these are custom made for us.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so like this is our actual Krampus that's inside. So like you can only get these at House of Torment or a 13th Floor Entertainment Group location.
So people can purchase those here.
Yeah, they're here. But yeah, I would say just come out and have fun. It's during the holidays. Expect like holiday fun.